Hello everyone, I'm Denise Love, and here's a little preview of what we're going to be doing today, so let's get started. Today I'm pulling out some paints that I've had stuck in the drawers. I've got some little Paul Rubens paints. These are those paints that they gave to me, the Artist Watercolors by Paul Rubens, and I thought I would do a color palette, do like a larger mixed media piece. And I'm working on this Saunders Waterford paper because I just got it and I want to play with it. And this is 140-pound cold press paper, and I think it's cotton. And it's a really nice paper from the one that I tried, so we're going to paint on that today. And so I pulled out a Color Cube card, 344. That's from Color Cube box number 2 by Sarah Renee Clark. And I'm going to play in this one today. And then I pulled out one for my next project that I was already kind of excited about. And I found that like the weirder looking palettes have been like some of my very favorite ones out of those boxes. And so now I go hunting for ones that are like, ooh, look at that. Maybe that's going to be the next fun one. So I pulled out of this, this is Winsor Newton, quinacridone red. And it might be brighter, but keep in mind we're working with watercolors. So when we water it down, we could get that nice pink light shade, we hope. And then this is Paul Rubens quinacridone macaroon. So that's hopefully just going to be a shade darker, yes. And then I actually pulled out Daniel Smith iridescent, pearlescent shimmer, which is just a silvery shimmer, which I've got on here for the gray, but kind of not really for the gray. There, I actually was thinking that I might do a little stenciling on top with some paints and stuff, and I pulled out this pewter matte acrylic and some iridescent gold fine by Golden as some gold. This is by Blick, and this is an iridescent, just like dark gray. So I've just sorted through all the supplies, and I'm like, what do I have in these colors? And so this is a little bit off of the lighter shade on, this is like a tan. So I actually pulled like a light yellow. So this is Paul Rubens Naples yellow. Just because, like I said, I use these as a guide, but not an absolute. So, just start playing with all your supplies and seeing, like, let's put this one down here. Seeing what you can create within a color palette. It doesn't have to be exact. And this is Earthy Yellow by Paul Rubens. So there's my color palette. Here was my inspiration, card 344. I think what I'm going to do is a large, maybe I'm going to paint it this way. Feeling large, living large. Let's go large. And maybe play with some opacities and just see like what can I create going a little bit bigger on this paper that I'm experimenting with and just having some fun today painting. So I'm just going to lay some color down kind of lightly with, a good amount of water in there. And I might come back and, darken that up some. Add some more color along the edges. Let some colors blend and mix. Just have some fun. I'm going to put down some of this pearly one, which we might not see, but it might shimmer. And just see what are we going to get today. I'm kind of excited about this color palette. Ooh, I do actually can see some shimmer in there. Let's come back with this kind of ochre color. I don't think that's the actual name of that, but it's what it looks like to me. So, what was that? Earthy yellow? I think that was earthy yellow. Ooh, look how pretty this already is. I kind of want to just stop here with the yellows. Just kind of adding some water in there. All right, let's test out what this light pink here is and start dipping that in. Ooh, be brave. The more you play and practice at your table, the less precious you get. And then you get where you're like, ooh, what if I did this? What would I get? And you get more excited and you get bolder in your choices. So the first couple times you do some intuitive painting and maybe work with a color palette you've never tried before, it might seem scary, but I'm telling you, now I'm just like, let's just jump right in and do this. Let's just jump right in and do that. I don't even think about it anymore. It's just, and if you're talking while you're doing it, you can't think too hard about where you're going and what you're doing. So I do actually like talking to you guys while I'm painting, because then I'm just throwing that brush down thinking, all right, what if it goes here? Not even thinking too hard about it, and I love that. Okay, I did kind of like that with just the yellows. This is how we discover these things, though. Don't be afraid to do these kind of things and then think, ooh, that was not what I liked. And then the next time you kind of know that. That's how we figure these things out for ourselves and make our way into the things that we love and the styles that we were meant to create. I'm just playing, adding color, just seeing what if I did this. Let's go back to this pearlescent one. I feel like there's a white in here. I feel like we could kind of throw this pearly color in a little bit. Let's see if it pushes any of the other colors around. And then we do have quite a bit of water on this paper, so I think I'm gonna have to let this dry and think, what else do I want to do? And then see where I want to take it from there. So I don't really like the way those have arced into like a shape there. See, now I'm losing some of my yummy yellows. Let's kind of put some of that back in there. And if you get any area where you just got a lot of water buildup, because this is the bigger piece of paper, I'm actually maybe going to soak a little bit of that water up, and we can make some texture while we're doing that and just play in our watercolor and see what we can create. If you leave the heavy lines on here, it'll just dry a pretty dark shade. So it's kind of your preference there on letting it dry natural and just seeing what you can get. And we could take the back side of our brush and just do a little mark making and move the watercolor into each other and just see, like, what does that give us? And maybe come outside the line and just see, you know, how cool an effect is that? And just kind of play and experiment. Don't be afraid of your paper. That's different. All right, let's let this dry and I'll be back. Kind of thought, what if we took a piece of corrugated cardboard? I have a big piece of that. And cut that down. This just came in, I think it was a book that this came with. So what if we take that corrugated cardboard and make some texture in here? We can do texture with lots of different things. You can do bubble wrap. I got some of that somewhere. And we could just set that down. We could set something heavy on top of that and just let that dry now and see what that soaks up. So I just thought I would tell you I was doing that before I came back and said, surprise. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry and I'll be back. All right, so I've let this dry for a while and I'm gonna pull this up and see what texture we got. Look how pretty that is. Oh my goodness, look at how pretty that is. Look at that. And then that little sparkly paint that I did over there, it just gives a really cool look. That's super cool. So it's not 100% dry at the top here. I might hit it with my heat gun, or you could just sit and let that finish. Oh, look how cool that is. I always reserve the right to cut stuff up too, and in my mind I'm already seeing this section right here as something yummy yummy. So now we can come back and we can add some more watercolor. We can mark make. Feel like I want to mark make. I've got some fun little stencil sets that I'd gotten off of Amazon with some different shapes in them that I like. And so I'm kind of feeling like this little set that's the leopard set, it's a little bit bigger stencils, and I really like some of these like patterns in here. They're kind of organic-y looking. And I really wanted to perhaps use one of these. We don't have to, we could do something else. You don't even have to use stencils. I'm just loving playing in the stencils recently myself. Kind of like this one. And what if we had some of this gray paint out here? Oh, way too much paint. Because I kind of want to do maybe some overlapping color in the stencils perhaps. I don't know. I just kind of in my mind had like maybe a little bit of some gray doing one thing and a little bit of some gold doing something else. And I don't want it to be super heavy, so I'm trying to keep the paint kind of light. So that was way too much paint out there. But let's just see. I'm not trying to... Oh, that's different. I'm not trying for anything specific. It's more about discovery for me. Oh yeah, see, that's super cool. That is pretty cool. All right, let's do some with gold. Because I kind of want it to overlap and just do its thing. Super cool. All right, that's in my mind what I was kind of feeling. The gold is a little softer. It softens up that silver that we stuck on there. Ooh, I like that. All right, so that's pretty different. And this gold that I've used, it's a nice alternative to my favorite gold, and it has a nice shimmer when you get it in the light, so it is a really nice alternative. And then we just have to look at it like, what mark making do we want to do to finish this off? And I might pull out my Mungyo Oil Pastels because it's got the most colors and they're so much fun, and I can kind of mostly match my colors on my inspiration card pretty easy to the colors in these because I had so many. And I'm kind of thinking like, let's do some bigger mark making. You know, usually these are little areas that we're working on, but let's just go for it. And then when you're all done, if you're like, I don't know, we could window it out and see, is there a better part in here, and cut it out. Don't be afraid to cut your art up into something you like that's better. Ooh, I love these. These are fun. Totally different. Definitely a little bit outside of my comfort zone, like where I normally would be with some of my painting, which is what I like about doing all this kind of experimenting. You do all this stuff that maybe you wouldn't normally do, and the more you do, the braver you get. And you know, you won't like everything you do. That's not the point. The point is to learn, have a good day painting because it was fun. Start off without all the expectations that we normally put on ourselves and just see, like, what can we get out of our painting today? I'm in a lots of layers mode of art, I think. You know, sometimes I'm in a very minimalist feel. Sometimes I'm like, how much stuff can I put on this? I think this is one of the how much stuff can you put on this phase of my art life. Somebody even mentioned that they're getting busier with some of the pieces that I create. And I'm like, dudes, I totally go through, look at this white oil pastel showing up really pretty. I totally go through a completely minimalist phase and then like a maximist kind of phase, like how much can I stick on there? And I just kind of go in and out of what I happen to be interested in at the time. And you know, with the YouTube videos, I film several of these in a row. And so usually, you know, if I'm working in a row, a lot of the art that I create is probably going to be similar to whatever is inspiring me in that moment. Whereas then I'll take a break and do something else for a bit. So hopefully I don't burn myself out creating. And then when I come back to creating just intuitive painting kind of art, then I have completely changed my look and what I'm doing. Let's just throw the kitchen sink at this one. And then I truly might cut it up, so we'll just decide. This is my fine line applicator with the gold mica ink in it rather than the with the pen. Let's just shake it up. So I like it because it just shakes up. That ink is so thin, it just does its thing. And I find you have better control with this bottle if you use it kind of on its side. Yeah, so every time I come back to my art table to do more practice and play and stuff like this, I've completely changed what might be inspiring me at the time. And you'll come back and it's like a totally different art style. And I love that. I love all the different art styles. I don't want to be, you know, stuck doing one type of art with one type of art material like my whole art life. And so that's why I think teaching is good for me, because it gives me an excuse to experiment with everything and not get stuck in one area of creating. Those are fun. Like I get bored with certain supplies, so I get bored with different creative things. So that's why I've changed creative things that I've done throughout my life. Like I've created teddy bears when I was younger, little tiny ones made of mohair. I don't think I can do that now though. I have my vision, I'd have to have like a magnifying glass out there. Okay, now I'm just going to take a look at this and see like what did we end up with, anything that we liked. I mean, I'm almost wanting to cut this out into something now. I mean, I already had in my mind I might cut this up. Now I'm feeling like, let's cut this up. Just looking, just visualizing. Yeah, and then I did, you know, drafting for years and years. And then I did, for my jobs, and then I did painting in different styles than I do now. And then I've done photography for more than a decade. Now I've come back to the art because really it's a much wider use of things that you can do, and I really love abstract art more than most things. So this is a pretty fun piece. I don't know that I love it just like it is. I'm letting that dry, that gold dry while I'm talking. And I'm almost thinking that if we pull out these viewfinders, this might be one I cut. Let me dry that gold. Okay, I think I got it dry. Ooh, see, like that right there? Ooh, look at that one right there. That right there is pretty darn cool. Ooh, this one right in here. See, I see some that I really like in here without necessarily loving the whole thing. And that's my preference today. Tomorrow I could look at this and think, oh my God, that was the best thing I ever created. Why did I do that? Look at that right there. Oh, that's pretty pretty. Sometimes, you know, you get caught up. You're like, do I like, you know, I love that right there. I'm just going to cut these up. I know you're thinking, no. But let's just do it. Let's just do it. See, the more of these you do, the less precious you get. And while I do think that the big piece is okay, I think that I'll like it even more if I cut these up. And some of my goal is to teach you to just go for it. Be brave. Don't get hung up and too precious with something. Oh, sometimes I surprise myself with my braveness. Oh my goodness, I do. Maybe I'll just cut that with scissors. That's got oil pastel on it. I don't want to get the oil pastel all over my cutting thing. Now if I just gave you a heart attack because I painted something and then cut it out, do some practice pieces and start doing this. It's so liberating to not be so attached to pieces that you can't make them better if you would cut it up in a different way. Because sometimes we get hung up on composition and then maybe something is just off and we're like, it's just off. But if you cut it up, it could have been like just perfect. Because with this, look at that. Now I feel like all the different elements are kind of coming in on each other and they're kind of doing different things. Like we've got good movement through the piece and we've got elements that are kind of complementing each other and moving your eye around the piece. Whereas before I thought, that's a big blob. That I'm in love with. All right, so that's the goal for me, to get something out of there that I loved. And then look at these pretty pieces that you could then use for other things. Like that right there would be a good business card. Look at that. You could be like, you know, Denise loved painting. You could have, that'd be pretty cool. And then, is there another one that we love, or do we want to cut that up into, oh, I like that right there actually. I like it because you can't see the full circle. The circle goes off and does its own little thing there. Ooh, yeah, right there. Let's do that. I know when we started, this is not where you thought we were going, huh? When we started, this was not where I thought we were going either. You just gotta ride that wave of creativity wherever it takes you. And just remember, it's just paint, it's just paper, and you can cut it up. All right, I'm gonna leave that little edge on, well, maybe I'll trim the edge. Ooh, look at that one. So now, check out the composition that I picked. I've got these little dots that are kind of coming down into the piece, moving your eye around, and then we've got the circles that are kind of coming in from the side. You don't see the other sides. You're like, ooh, that kind of keeps on going. It just lets the mind envision that this art kept on going and we're only seeing a little part of it, and starts letting people kind of imagine, what did the bigger piece look like? Check that out. Those ended up so good, and after I had the big blob, I was like, kind of not liking it, but these I love. All right, so I hope you had fun painting with me today. I hope I didn't just scare the socks off of you when I cut that up, because that, let me tell you, it really is like the most liberating thing to cut your art up. Hope you had fun today. If you want to show me what you're working on, feel free to tag me on Instagram at Two Little Owls Art. You can join the Facebook group I have for the art peeps, and I'll link all that below along with the supplies, and I'll see you next time.